is so enamored with the three-point shot. So the kids, they don't want 2 points. They don't want to work with their back to
Under the dim lights of a 1970s gym, a tall, calm figure glides across the hardwood. No roar, no swagger, just silence, rhythm, and that one impossible motion, the skyhook. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't just play basketball, he redefined what grace could look like in a game built on power. He was smarter than the arena around him, quieter than the headlines that ignored him, and yet utterly unstoppable. For 2 decades, he ruled without raising his voice. 6 championships, 6 MVPs, more points than anyone in history. Still, when the spotlight turned to Jordan, Magic, and Bird, Kareem slowly faded into the background. Reporters called him distant. Fans forgot his dominance. But those who really watched knew, he was never chasing fame, only mastery. From the playgrounds of Harlem to the polished floors of UCLA, from the Bucks' early glory to the Showtime Lakers dynasty, his story is more than just trophies and records. It's about a genius who chose silence over spectacle, philosophy over applause. So, what the hell happened to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the quiet giant who conquered basketball, yet disappeared from the conversation that he once defined? Before he became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he was Lou Alcindor, a quiet kid from Harlem, towering above his classmates, but speaking softer than anyone in the room. While other children fought for attention, Lou spent hours alone, studying books and perfecting footwork on the cracked concrete courts of New York City. He wasn't chasing noise, he was chasing precision. At Power Memorial High School, he became a living legend. 171 wins, only 7 losses. But even then, fame made him uncomfortable. Coaches and journalists wanted a showman, he just wanted to play basketball the right way. His calm face often hid an intensity that only appeared when the ball left his hand, a touch so smooth it felt like art. Then came UCLA, and the partnership with Coach John Wooden, a meeting between discipline and intellect. Alcindor dominated college basketball so completely that the NCAA literally banned dunking to make the game fairer. Yet instead of protesting, he adapted. He crafted a weapon that no one could stop, the skyhook. A move born from necessity, perfected through geometry and patience. 3 national championships later, he left college basketball as perhaps the most complete player the sport had ever seen. But even with all the glory, Lou Alcindor still felt detached from the attention. He was beginning to question his identity, his place in America, and the meaning of fame itself. As the crowd screamed his name, he quietly looked for something deeper, something beyond basketball. That search would lead him to a new faith, a new name, and a destiny that would forever change how the world viewed greatness. When Kareem entered the NBA in 1969, the game had never seen anyone like him. 7'2", graceful, unshakable, a center who could think like a scientist and move like a dancer. In Milwaukee, his partnership with the veteran Oscar Robertson gave birth to dominance. In just 2 seasons, the Bucks were champions, and Kareem was the league's most valuable player. Every hook, every pivot, every quiet glare said the same thing: you can't touch this. His rivals tried. Wilt Chamberlain tested his power. Bill Walton challenged his rhythm. Moses Malone pushed him to the edge. But Kareem never fought with emotion, he fought with precision. While others dunked for noise, he elevated for poetry. The skyhook became his signature emotion, so fluid that even time itself seemed to pause. By the early 80s, the spotlight had shifted. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were the faces of the new NBA, smiling for cameras and commercials. Kareem, now in Los Angeles, didn't seek the light, yet his consistency kept the Lakers alive. The Showtime dynasty may have dazzled with fast breaks, but its soul was still anchored by number 33. At 38, he outplayed men 10 years younger, leading the Lakers to another championship and capturing his 6th MVP. His rivals changed, but his standard never did. In an era that celebrated flash, Kareem's calm became a rebellion of its own, a reminder that true greatness doesn't need applause, it just needs purpose. Greatness always comes with a price. For Kareem, it wasn't defeat, it was misunderstanding. The media called him distant, cold, even arrogant. But those who truly knew him saw something different, a man guarding his peace in a world that never stopped talking. In an era when players smiled for every headline, Kareem chose silence. He read books on history and philosophy during road trips. He spoke only when words mattered. That quiet defiance made him hard to love, but impossible to ignore. Physically, time began to test him. The pounding of 2 decades on hardwood wore down his body. His eyes, already sensitive from years of scratches, forced him to wear the famous goggles that became part of his legend. While other stars relied on explosiveness, Kareem leaned into wisdom. He trained with discipline, mastered efficiency, and turned the skyhook into the most reliable shot in basketball history. It was less of a weapon and more of a language, one that said, "You can't block wisdom." The league evolved around him faster, louder, younger, yet Kareem adjusted without chasing trends. He didn't argue for attention. He simply kept showing up, game after game, year after year, outscoring and outlasting nearly everyone. When others faded, Kareem reinvented himself. He wasn't just surviving, he was redefining longevity itself. Each quiet comeback became a statement: greatness doesn't scream, it endures. By the late 80s, the game was changing faster than ever. New stars, new pace, new style, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was still there, steady as the heartbeat of the Lakers. His body had slowed, yet his mind remained razor-sharp. Every minute on the floor was a masterclass in control, one step ahead, one thought deeper, one skyhook closer to history. The 1989 season became his farewell tour. Every arena from Boston to Detroit rose in unison when he entered. Fans who once booed now stood to applaud. Gifts poured in, paintings, trophies, even a rocking chair from the Celtics. Kareem smiled gently, grateful but detached, as if all of it belonged to another lifetime. He didn't crave the spotlight, he respected it, then quietly passed through it. That final year wasn't about dominance, it was about dignity. He accepted limited minutes, mentored young teammates, and still delivered when the moment called. In one of his last games, he hit a skyhook so smooth the crowd fell silent, everyone realizing they might never see it again. When it ended, there was no tearful goodbye, no dramatic press conference. Just a man who had given everything walking away with grace. The cameras faded, the noise dissolved, and the league moved on. But for those who understood the game, something irreplaceable had left the floor that night, not just a legend, but a standard. After Kareem Abdul-Jabbar left the game, silence followed him once more, but this time, it was chosen. No headlines, no talk shows, no endless nostalgia tours. While others stayed in front of cameras, Kareem turned toward reflection. He wrote books, mentored youth, and spoke about history, faith, and identity. His world was now made of words instead of jump balls. Yet his influence never disappeared. Every young big man studying footwork or efficiency was, in some way, chasing Kareem's ghost. His skyhook, elegant, balanced, unstoppable, remains the single most efficient shot in basketball history. Coaches still call it the perfect motion, a move beyond imitation. For decades, the conversation about greatness focused on charisma, Jordan's fire, Magic's smile, Bird's grit. Kareem's genius was quieter, deeper, less understood. But as time passed, recognition began to return. He became a mentor to stars like LeBron James, a respected voice for justice, and a living reminder that intellect and athleticism can coexist. When LeBron finally broke his scoring record in 2023, Kareem stood courtside smiling, graceful, proud. No bitterness, only peace. It was a passing of the torch, not a loss. Because the truth is, legends like Kareem never fade. They evolve from players to teachers, from competitors to philosophers. And long after the cheers are gone, their lessons remain: precision over power, wisdom over noise, and grace over ego. In the end, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was never defined by the noise. His story was never about chasing cameras or building a brand. It was about mastery, a man who treated basketball like a language and spoke it with poetry. While others screamed for attention, Kareem listened to silence. And in that silence, he found perfection. He was the rare athlete who understood that legacy is not built on applause, but on endurance. 2 decades of dominance. 6 MVPs, 6 championships. And a skyhook that has never been replicated, not because no one tried, but because no one else had his patience, his rhythm, his calm. Even now, when you replay the old footage, you can feel it: the serenity before the shot, the effortless rise, the soft whisper of the ball kissing the net. That's not just a highlight, it's a philosophy. A reminder that greatness doesn't have to shout to be eternal. So what the hell happened to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Nothing tragic. Nothing broken. He simply chose peace over praise, wisdom over noise. And maybe that's the real lesson, that in a world obsessed with sound and speed, the greatest stillness can sometimes belong to the quietest man on the court.